Hey, good morning. Good morning. It's me, Alviana Brewster. I am the CEO of Black Nurse Entrepreneurs, the premier organization for Black nurses who are interested in launching, building, and growing his or her entrepreneurial endeavors worldwide. And so I am coming to you as I always do every Saturday morning. And I just want to give you just little tidbits, things to drop into your spirit that you can take, put into your business today to help the business to flourish. And so let me recap really quickly. In January, we talked all about financial health. In February, we talked all about Black excellence. And in March, it is going to be all about community building. So I actually did a previous video talking about the power of community building. Today, I want to talk to you more about the challenges of community building. It is fun to do community building, but let's face it, there are some things that can be challenging about it. So let's have a conversation about it. I just want to talk to you about my experience, what I've done, what I've had to do in order to help you to not encounter those things, or when you do encounter those things, you'll see them, you'll recognize them, and you'll know what to do. Okay. So let's jump right into it. The first thing I just really want to mention before we hop into it is remember a community of people is a group of people that are coming together, usually for a common theme or they have common characteristics. But even though there is a similar theme or something that you are coming together for, you got to remember that you're taking people from different ages, different walks of life, different experiences, different levels of expertise, and different opinions. And when you have that, you have all of these different people in one little area. And so that sometimes can be chaotic, confusing, can be all over the place if you don't kind of control that. And so I believe one of the first things that you should be really clear cut on is your guidelines and expectations. When you start a community or you're building your community, you really want to talk about what the expectations of the community are, okay? And have those guidelines listed when people are enter into the community. Make sure that those guidelines are visible and so that people know them straight off the bat. This is what the expectations are of me if I want to stay and participate in this community. And I encourage you to set the tone, set it early, set it often, and to also model that tone. If you don't allow cursing in your group, then don't curse. I mean, it's just that simple. If you don't allow stealing, cheating, whatever, then don't model those things. You want to be a leader and you want to set the tone that other people will follow. So make sure that you are showing up at your best level and showing up at the expectation of which you expect of others. Okay. Managing conflicts. Now, that is a challenging one because for me, especially, at the end of the day, I want people to just be good people and do what they're supposed to do. But the reality is, people don't do that. And sometimes there's conflicts that we have to manage. And so, again, it goes back to your guidelines and expectations. First of all, if people can't figure out how to get it together, then they probably need to be removed out of the community. I don't do conflict management publicly usually. If there's a post or something that was said or done, I may address that in a broad sense, but usually I go behind the scenes with the people who are in a conflict or fighting or whatever, disagreement, whatever. And I usually address that to them behind the scenes. I don't make a public display of anything usually. That's just not how I operate. But and I'm speaking specifically of a Facebook group because that's where my community is. But this goes for any community that you have. I believe in addressing a situation quickly and preventing it from going any further. But also, I don't believe in just publicly humiliating people. I believe in going behind the scenes and having a conversation to try to manage the conflict that's happening. If it can't be managed, like I said, or if people can't act correctly or as an adult, then sometimes they may just have to be removed, and that's possible because at the end of the day, this community is your baby, and you're responsible for it. You're the leader of it, and you don't want people coming in and destroying your credibility, your name. You don't want people to say, "Oh, that community is trash, it's garbage. They allow anything up in that community." That's not what you want. You want people to come to your community because your community is an upstanding community where people of like-minded come together to do great things. Whatever the thing is, you want that type of persona for your community. You don't want negative comments and people not liking your community or leaving your community because there's always conflict happening. Dealing with trolls and negativity. Trolls are interesting. Sometimes they pop into the communities, they imitate or act like other people or still like people's identity so they can get into a community, and then they go to trolling left and right. You just really have to, one of the ways, let me say this, before a person enters into my community, I have a process of where we look at their profiles, we look at the questions and how they answer the questions. And that is a way that I can weed out people that I don't think are a good fit for the community. However, with that being said, people are smart and they have figured ways around that. And so sometimes I have trolls that enter into the community. We've done our due diligence to try to go through and make sure that they're a good fit. And sometimes people just slide in. And it happens. It happens. And so as soon as a troll pops up, you need to get rid of them, point blank, period, because their goal is to destroy, and our community is not one of destruction. And so therefore, you want to handle and address that quickly. And one thing that I recommend that you do is you're periodically really monitoring the community for comments that don't quite fit or that look suspicious. Maybe you have some community managers or co-moderators that are consistently looking for those types of things and can remove those people immediately. And then my community, the fortunate part about my community is they report to me when somebody is acting up or there's a troll. They will report it in a minute, and that helps me to be able to go and remove them ASAP. Same with negativity. If there's someone being negative or not productive in the community, sometimes it requires that we just remove them. And my remove game has gotten so much better. I used to be, in the very beginning years of community building, I used to try to be, understanding and listening. Let me hear this person out and all of that. Nowadays, I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. And we've been able to grow a fantastic community without negativity. So, if somebody's being negative, and of course, you have to base it on each circumstance. Sometimes people maybe just had a bad day and say something that's kind of, that may not require much. But there's sometimes there are people that are really trying to do damage and harm and be hurtful. And it requires quick action, point blank, period. I'm not here to try to figure out your life and your motives and stuff like that. If you're doing things that are not productive for the building and the uplifting of this community, then you need to go, point blank, period, boom, because that's not what we are about. So I encourage you to monitor for things like that and to handle them swiftly. Don't allow them to fester and keep going and going and going. You need people who can help you moderate and help you to watch for stuff like that, because you're busy. You're busy trying to grow the community and feed the community. So get some extra help and allow people to kind of help you with that. Now, how do you balance the freedom of expression with your community guidelines? I myself like to allow adults to be adults, but we all know that when adults have the freedom to be adults, sometimes they take it too far. And so again, you always come back to what your guidelines are. Allow people the ability to freely express themselves within the confines of your guidelines. That's so important. You set the tone with that, because you don't want your community to get out of control, and you want to keep the community as a positive environment for everyone to learn, to grow, to build, to engage, to have fun, whatever, to participate, whatever. But allow them to be free, but also to remember that we do have rules and guidelines for a reason. How do you manage, how to maintain engagement and participation? That is one of the more challenging things sometimes for communities, because it constantly requires you to constantly be thinking, to constantly be observing, and trying to figure out the best ways to serve your community. But it's super important. And nowadays with AI can really help you with this. If you've forgotten about topics or you need something to help you to rejuvenate your community, go to AI and ask AI. But the main part about it is maintaining that engagement, giving them engaging content that they really like, that asks questions, that gets feedback, gets people really going. People love to give their opinion, feedback, show their expertise and stuff like that. So make sure that you're asking questions or creating content that allows people to do that, right? Um, Games, surveys, polls, giveaways, things like that increases participation. People love to win. People love to be the best. Having leaderboards so people can see, oh my gosh, I'm competing. I want to be the best. This increases participation. So do those types of things in your community to keep it fun, active, and engaging. Okay. Ways to build trust and credibility. Building trust is so very important. You as a leader, you want people to trust you. I always say this. I can have a vision as an individual, but it means nothing if nobody else sees it, trusts it, and following in behind me, right? And so you want to make sure that you're credible, that you are open and transparent. People like, know, and trust those individuals that they feel connected to, that they feel are authentic, and that they feel who are transparent. Really, that they feel are just like them. This person understands me because they're like me. And so being open and honest and transparent and authentic will help you to build trust and credibility. Also, do what you say you're going to do. Point blank, period. That's how we build trust. We like, know, and trust the individual that does what they say they're going to do. It's not that hard. It's nothing harder than that. Maintaining connections as you grow. This is a challenge for a lot of people in building their community, because as you get bigger, the less time that you may have, or the less ability that you may have to connect to each other. So you have to become even more intentional about how you connect with people. This actually is one of those things that's not incredibly difficult for me, but I recognize that it is difficult for other people. And so you have got to be intentional about reaching out to people or stimulating conversations and actually actively participating in those conversations. Create an environment where more people can gather together, like live events and conferences or online challenges and stuff like that. And create an environment where people talk about themselves. So you get to learn about them, and you can connect, you can provide feedback, you can have conversations with them. But as you grow bigger and bigger, it becomes more challenging. And it also becomes something that has to be a little bit more intentional. Okay. So create an environment where you can still be warm, welcoming, and connecting with people as you continue to grow. And then there's some other ways too you could do that. You want to be very high touch with your people, even if you're not the one necessarily being high touch, meaning DMs that may be automated, posts that are automated, emails that are automated, text messages that are automated. When a person comes in, when they get hit with all of those things, then those are high touch points that you don't necessarily have to sit there and individually send out every single time. You still stay top of mind. You still stay connected with individuals and invite them to reply and respond back. That's a good way also to keep people connected with you. Okay. Keeping up with the trends. There's always a trend. There's a trend nonstop. And I think it requires you also to be intentional about just understanding your industry, understanding what's happening, and not only understanding those trends, but also doing something about it, incorporating that within your business model so that you keep up with it, or within your community, I should say. So just so you keep up with it, I've done B&E 8.5 years now, and there's been different things that have come and gone. At one point in time, COVID was a big thing. At one point in time, we talked really heavily about med spas and home care, and we had nurses at one point in time, especially during COVID, that were maybe doing a bunch of travel contracts or whatever. There's a lot of different trends that are happening. You got to stay on top of it. Right now, there's a trend of AI. So how do you stay on top of that trend and still feed and serve your community at the highest level to the best of your ability? And I do believe it really requires you to maintain a sense of, or let me say it like this, to be intentional about those trends and to really understand how they may affect or benefit your community or your business, and really incorporate that into the model, if that makes sense. How do you continue to grow and build this community. Sometimes you just really need support and help. Community building is not the most easiest of things, but it is a really good thing for your business and your audience, right? And so, hire community managers, hire people that can help you to grow the community, hire people that can help bring people into the community and help to moderate it. Get in other communities so you can see how they're ran. Get around other people who have communities that discuss their wins in the community, their likes, their dislikes, how they run it, how they operate the community. That has really been beneficial for me in order to help me to grow, because I'm around other people that have done it for years, or do it a little differently than I do it, and I get to learn from those people. Okay, so yes, obviously there are challenges to growing a community, but I think that the benefits far outweigh the challenges. I just wanted to talk about them today because a lot of people will give up on community building because of the challenges, and I don't want that to be your story. Community building is a fantastic thing, and it has wonderful benefits. There are challenges, hence why we talked about it today. But I feel like after our discussion today, you will go out there and you will knock it out of the park. Okay? Now, one last thing, I dare not leave without giving you the opportunity to be a part of our B&E Elite membership. It is the exclusive membership of Black Nurse Entrepreneurs, where we do networking, accountability, masterminding, advertising, visibility, you name it, we do it at a higher level in the membership. So I'm inviting you to become a part of it. Go to our website, blacknurseentrepreneurs.org. Go up to the top where the membership page is and join us. Listen, that is my time. I thank you for tuning in. I hope this blesses you. I hope that it doesn't deter you from community building, but it gives you fuel and power to make your community better. Okay? That is my time. Bye. Have a good one.